Idea TV has announced the first edition of its Industries and SMEs of Interest in the series of Idea TV bulletins, a special initiative spotlighting African enterprises driving innovation, industrial growth and economic inclusion around the continent. The program highlights companies at the forefront of re-engineering Africa's value chains, from agriculture and infrastructure protection to drone logistics and financial technology. According to Idea TV, the Industries and SMEs of Interest series celebrates businesses that are not only expanding markets, but also transforming how Africa produces, protects, and trades. These enterprises are recognized for their impact in strengthening agro-industrial systems, securing critical assets, improving logistics, and advancing digital payments and inclusion for millions.
In Oyo State, Nigeria, Satri International Company Limited is turning cassava into global value. Founded in 2005, Satri is one of Africa's leading agro-allied companies, pioneering food-grade cassava starch and becoming the first in Africa to produce cassava-based sorbitol.
My passion for agri started during the Obasanjo regime about 2.5 decades ago, when there was a lot of campaign for cassava, and I got interested in the crop, and that was my first contact with cassava as it were. Then cassava wasn't this popular. It was just a crop people plant for hunger, for food, for animals, basically. Nothing so much as an industrial crop. It was more of a food crop than an industrial crop at that time. And that was my first contact with the cassava roots. And I decided to make a passion out of it. So I can say that Satri is a combination of passion and professionalism combined. And that's why our company is a bit scientific, at the same time using passion for agriculture to drive the raw material aspect of the business.
Cassava is a shrub with edible roots that's native to South America. The raw root can be poisonous. It actually has cyanide in it. But more than 4,000 years ago, indigenous people in the Amazon River basin discovered that grating, straining, and cooking cassava made it safe to eat. Portuguese colonizers first introduced cassava to Africa in the 16th century. Then, in the 1850s, when formerly enslaved Africans returned to Nigeria, they brought cassava cooking methods with them from Brazil. Europeans pushed the cultivation of cassava in Africa because it was hardy and could help prevent famine. During this time, new ways to cook the root sprung up across the continent. In Nigeria, they ground up and dried the cassava pulps into flakes, called gari. Because it's fermented, gari helped harvested cassava last longer. Over the centuries, the roots replaced native yams as the main food source across the continent.
Satri integrates over 3,500 farmers and 500 agripreneurs into its value chain, training them in good agronomic practices, supporting them with improved stems, fertilizers, tractors, and guaranteed markets.
What actually drove me here in the first place was the pity for farmers coming all the way 300 kilometers to Ekagro then. And I felt, oh, if I had the opportunity to do something different, I would do it the other way around. And that was why our goal is to grow with our farmers. Today we grew from 17 farmers, 3 females, 14 male, to 10,000 today, because it's part of the business strategy to use smallholder farmers in our business. Today, you can imagine, we have close to 20 trailers loading fertilizer in this environment for other factories, and yet we are also not suffering from raw material.
Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run wípé mo darapọ̀ mọ́ ẹgbẹ́ Satri yìí, torí pé ní ìgbà tí mo kọ́ ń gbìn ní nǹkan bí ọdún 5 sẹ́yìn tí n tí darapọ̀ mọ́ wọn, mi ò rí bí 200 tàbí 100,000 kó jọ ní inú oko rí, téèyàn ó rí pé òun gbà káàsì báyìí tí ó sì rí kó jọ tí ó fi ṣe nǹkan tó wù. Ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tí a darapọ̀ mọ́ ẹgbẹ́ yìí, ìgbà kan wọ́n ti kọ́ wá dẹlẹ̀ fún àwa ní ìlú Òṣogùn, tó jẹ́ pé ilẹ̀ yẹn ò tó nǹkan, ṣùgbọ́n a rí èrè ńbẹ̀ náà kó tó di pé à ń pé kí wọ́n dákun kí wọ́n wá dá iléeṣẹ́ irú eléyìí náà, torí lọ́dọ̀ rẹ̀ mi ní Ayédè ńlọ́wà tẹ́lẹ̀. Àwa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gba àdúrà sí, ṣùgbọ́n gbà Ọlọ́run ṣe ó bọ́ sí.
a ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ lóko wa tẹ́lẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n kò dùn bíi ti sọ́ọ̀sì torí pé nígbà tí sọ́ọ̀sì yìí dé àwọn pè wá sí àwa náà sì dáhùn nígbà wọn ó sì dàbí ká pé iṣẹ́ ẹ̀ ní ó di pé wọ́n ń gbà lọ́dọ̀ wa tó wọ́n bá gba pákí ni nígbà tí wọ́n gbà á rí wípé gọbọ yìí lówó yìí rí àti rí bí inú éka kan à ń rí bí ọkọ̀ méjì abá tuntun wọ̀nyí ọkọ̀ 6 la rí ẹ wo inú mi dùn gidi sí iléeṣẹ́ yìí Ọlọ́run kó máa ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ dáadáa Ọlọ́run má rẹ̀ wọ́n palẹ̀ nínú iṣẹ́ yìí ní owó tí wọ́n fún mi mo fi tọ́mọ níwèé lẹ́nu ìgbà tí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ yìí mo sì fi ṣe freedom fọ́mọ èmi náà sì ń jẹun mọ́ nínú iṣẹ́ yìí ní owó náà torí bẹ́ẹ̀ Ọlọ́run máa rìn wá ṣe o.
The company doesn't just process cassava, it processes progress by providing electricity, water, and scholarships to farmers' children. Southtree is building a model of industrialization that keeps value on African soil, saves foreign exchange, and powers community growth. Southtree International, raising the cassava value chain one root at a time. When geography becomes a barrier, innovation takes flight. Meet Zipline, the world's largest autonomous delivery network, powered entirely by electric drones.
Traversing that terrain to get to a rural village can take hours, even though it's a very short distance.
Today, if a mother is giving birth and suffers from postpartum hemorrhaging, her life is dependent on getting a blood transfusion.
There are many different types of blood types. They have a limited shelf life. And the challenge is when you need blood, you need it immediately. But it is unpredictable which geography that will occur in.
Hospitals that are in more remote areas can have a very hard time getting enough reliably supplied blood.
The service that Zipline provides allows any doctor or nurse anywhere in the country to basically send a text message and get the product that they need 15 to 30 minutes later.
Since 2016, Zipline has revolutionized logistics across Africa, delivering essential medicines, vaccines, and blood to the hardest to reach communities.
Zipline is divided into different teams. We have the flight ops who carry about pre-flighting planes, packing, loading the packages, and make sure that plane can fly. And then we have health ops. You can include more of the people with the knowledge of the blood product.
We make order to Zipline by using SMS or by using WhatsApp.
The package is handed to flight ops. We scan the package and that's when we put the vehicle on the launcher. The vehicle will fly autonomously up to the hospital.
In Rwanda and Ghana alone, Zipline serves over 800 hospitals, completing 1.4 million deliveries and covering 100 million miles.
So for products like emergency medication, we have ranging from anti-snake venom that are used in cases of snake bites. So a typical scenario is if a farmer is going to the farm and is bitten by a snake and reports to the nearest health facility, they call quickly on Zipline and we can send that product as soon as possible. Within 5 minutes, the product is out of the Zipline distribution center to make the delivery. This is the first center that was set up in Ghana.
A lot of impact stories that have proven that this technology is here to stay. Why am I saying this? We've had a woman who was in labor in one of the hard-to-reach areas where we deliver healthcare commodities, and it was difficult to get oxytocin for her to ensure that she delivered safely because they needed to induce the labor. And it took just about 10 minutes. For them, they called us for this medication, and it took us just 10 minutes to deliver to this woman. And a life was saved. 2 lives, if you like, because the woman and the baby.
During the COVID-19 surge in 2020, an estimated 2 billion people lacked access to basic medicines, partly because they live in remote locations. To help solve this problem, drone company Zipline pioneered medical deliveries to rural communities in Rwanda and Ghana. It Its lightweight drones deliver vital packages to clinics up to 85 kilometers away. What once took hours by road now takes minutes by air, saving lives daily.
Iyo nabona ayo maraso nari gushobora gupfa. Igihe kuva basaba amaraso n'igihe yatugereyeho nta minota 5 irimo.
Nabona ayo maraso kumva naritavye Imana. Kari yagize umuntu.
We can avoid expiries, we can avoid stockout because the supply chain has improved. Blood is life. It is saving life for Rwandans.
Beyond delivery, Zipline invests in local talent, training African engineers, pharmacists, and drone operators. It's not just delivering packages, it's delivering possibilities. Zipline, proof that Africa's geography can inspire, not limit, innovation. Across Africa's industrial frontiers, from refineries to power plants, safety is the innovation frontier. And at the heart of this transformation stands Terra, a Nigerian-born tech startup redefining how critical infrastructure is protected. Terra, formerly Terra Haptics, builds autonomous monitoring and protection systems that safeguards Africa's vital assets. From hydropower plants to mines and refineries, Terra's network of drones, surveillance towers, and smart sensors provides 24/7 perimeter protection, real-time threat detection, and automated response.
It collects all the surveillance data from all these different systems. It analyzes this data, looking for threats in real time, and once spotted, it alerts the necessary response teams, whether it's security agencies or in-house response teams. Essentially, we want to ensure that the software ecosystem of Terra is entirely African, and that is the key to keeping that data safe.
In 2025, Terra secured a $1.2 million contract to secure 2 hydropower plants in Nigeria, outbidding an Israeli consortium. A bold statement that African technology can compete globally and win.
I've always been thinking, what is the best way to truly help industrialize Africa? And I've always believed that it comes down to the big 3: security, energy, and food production. We wanted to begin with what I think is the common denominator holding the continent back. So we began building out autonomous systems to solve the security crisis in Africa.
Not every day you see a company that's building both the hardware and the software at the same time. And we have companies that are acquiring hardware and then, building out their own software internally, or acquiring software and building out the hardware. We're a company that were able to say, okay, we're going to build out great hardware and integrate great software, everything in-house. And that was what made us stand out.
Founded by young innovators Nathan Nwachukwu and Maxwell Maduka, Terra fuses hardware, software, and AI-driven analytics to ensure operational resilience. Their systems not only protect industries, but they also help communities by detecting and deterring security threats before they strike. From Nigeria to Ghana and Kenya, Terra is shaping a safer, smarter Africa, one autonomous system at a time. Terra, securing the future of Africa's critical infrastructure. From farmlands to fintech, drones to digital wallets, Africa's industries of interest are shaping a new story, a story of resilience, creativity, and impact. At Idea TV, we celebrate the enterprises and entrepreneurs driving Africa's transformation. Idea, industries, and SMEs of interest, recognizing impact, inspiring innovation. In Nigeria, fintech innovation is rewriting the rules of commerce. OPAY, founded in 2013, has become a household name, empowering over 50 million users, 1 million merchants, and 500,000 agents across the country. With its green POS terminals and easy mobile app, OPAY is helping millions of Nigerians pay, save, and grow businesses daily.
If you go to the bank, no money, and you'll be wasting time.
When you need money, before you look up, you see POS about in many places and make it easy to collect money.
I don't used to put money on the bank ATM anymore. By going there, you are just wasting your time.
If we go to the bank, we will queue and we waste our time.
In 2024 alone, OPAY and other licensed operators processed over 71.5 trillion naira in transactions, driving Nigeria's cashless revolution. By hiring locally and scaling sustainably, OPAY proves that homegrown fintech can compete globally while solving real local problems. OPAY, powering inclusion, one transaction at a time. In 2007, one simple idea changed the way Africa moves money. M-Pesa, launched by Safaricom and Vodafone in Kenya, turned mobile phones into banks for millions of unbanked Africans. M-Pesa powers payments, savings and credits for over 50 million active users across 7 African countries. In Kenya alone, 59% of GDP flows through its platform, making it the beating heart of Africa's digital economy.
At first, in 2015, when M-Pesa came home, it was we thought that was the 616 TPS was really one that we could not achieve. Rather, it was very high. But today, as I told you, we are now at 4,000 transactions per second. Then what that meant is we had to continuously upgrade our environment. And the biggest bottleneck that we saw then was a database. And the reason for that is because all the transactions are written into the database. The technologies that we had then are not the same ones that we have today. And therefore, leveraging on the enhancement, the evolution of technology to what we have today, then we will be upgrading it even further. From now, a case of just replacing a database, you're moving from a 16-core database from 2000 technology to a database that is a 32-core to a 64-core database. Now switching this into one that we can actually seamlessly upgrade M-Pesa without necessarily having to disconnect everybody from the service. We just set up one environment and then we scale it horizontally and seamlessly without necessarily bringing down all the services. If you recall, we had in 2015, 16, 17, before 2020, we used to have a lot of notifications that we are going to upgrade M-Pesa. Be down for the next 2 hours from midnight, from midnight. Mostly it's from 1 a.m. because that's when we realize most of our customers. But to date, actually, at 1 a.m. we still have about 300 customers transacting per second, mostly over the weekend. And so then we would bring down systems to be able to upgrade. In the recent past, I'm sure you've seen them, but they're not that frequent. And it is because of the evolution that we've been able to undertake. Every other week, every other month, we have almost 2 upgrades of the core M-Pesa system and the systems in that ecosystem. M-Pesa we have an M-Pesa core system, that's the wallet, but also the same core system exposes a lot of APIs generally that interconnects with many other systems, and that's where our partners come in through the payment gateway, or the payment gateway that interconnects to them. And whenever we interconnect them, we have almost 45,000 integrations into that ecosystem. Of course, we also have the gateway, which has about 100,000 developers, and how we support that is through the APIs that are robust. All these systems interconnect to the core in a manner that is very secure, and that's how we are able to power that every single request that comes into the system. M-Pesa, as mentioned, we have more than 10 systems within the ecosystem, financial services ecosystem. Remember, we recently launched CD, a new product as a wealth management product. We've had a lot of evolution around the lending side of things, where we had Fuliza. That didn't come in 2015. We've always evolved that from a technology perspective by bringing on board more systems and enhancing the capabilities of the core system through innovation. Now we have what we have today. Today we have a multi-tenant lending platform that powers Fuliza and many other lending propositions, term loans that are there. We've just set up a multi-tenant wealth management platform. Multi-tenant in this case means you can have as many partners as possible coming on board as much as we agree with them commercially, and then we host the platform for them, and then we run the technology for them, and then we agree commercially on the other side. As part of my role, of course, is to ensure that strategically we meet the business goals from a technology perspective, and therefore going for multi-tenant kind of architecture is what we've been doing from a lending perspective, wealth, and now going into the insurance space with the same kind of mindset to be part of the evolution.
By connecting people to affordable, secure financial services, M-Pesa didn't just enable transactions, it enabled transformation. M-Pesa, the mobile money engine driving financial inclusion across Africa.